Hey everyone, this is FIDE Master Kostya Kavutskiy here again for Chess.com, and today I'm going to be continuing my new series on calculation and how to improve your calculation if you're in that intermediate level, 1500, 1600, around there. So if you guys want to pause the video and try to solve this position, it's black to play and win. Okay, so assuming you've paused the video and thought about it and found the best move, we're gonna start to analyze a bit. This position actually isn't too difficult to solve. It's a bit tricky because there's a lot going on here. Because white's threatening mate and black's queen is sort of hanging. It's not really hanging because of this pin here, but things could get tricky at some point. So there's really, I think, only one move that gives black the immediate win, and it isn't so hard to find. The move that I want to talk about first, though, is this move bishop f5, which seems very logical because we're giving a discovery check and we're attacking white's queen. The problem is, though, that once white's king moves away, let's say to g1, is that our queen is now hanging as well. So bishop takes g6, g takes h4, and white is fine, right? So in this case, a lot of times when both queens are hanging, you'd look for some kind of intermediate move. Like if we could give some check with our queen and get it safe and then take white's queen on the next move, that would be great. Unfortunately, there's no check available. Queen d4 check would be nice, but the bishop is there. So this doesn't really win for black. The right move here is bishop g4 check. Why the g4 square? I mean, black had a number of options to give this discovery check. Why is g4 the correct square? Well, the point is that we're blocking white's queen from defending this crucial g3 pawn. That's the whole point of this small combination. And because we're interfering with white's connection here from the queen to the pawn, that allows black to checkmate their opponent in just a few moves. So regardless of where the king moves, we play queen takes g3 check. If king h1, bishop takes f3 is mate, so king f1, and here, if black wants, they can take the queen with bishop h3 check, followed by queen takes g6. But better is just to mate our opponent right away. So if you guys want to find the mate, I definitely recommend to pause the video and try to calculate a few moves ahead. It's not too difficult. So the correct continuation here is queen takes f3 check, king g1, and now the key move, bishop h2 check. And this move, I don't know, I don't think it's that hard to find. I think with white's king so exposed, you should look at all kinds of forcing moves. So king takes h2 is forced, and queen f2 check, and bishop f3 mate. So again, the point of this position was to find this move, bishop g4 check, blocking white's queen from defending the g3 pawn and allowing our queen to get in and mate the white king. So our next position here is also taken from one of my old games, and it's black to play and not win, but, well, black to play and find a draw. Okay, right now black is definitely worse because they're undeveloped and this bishop on c5 is stopping us from castling. Not to mention white is about to take this a6 pawn, so black is definitely in trouble here and has to find some kind of tactical continuation to get out of their mess. So if you want more time, definitely pause that video and keep thinking, but otherwise we'll move on. So the right move here is rook takes c5. And finding this move isn't so difficult if you're looking for some kind of tactic. But in order to justify this move, you only have to see a few key tactical elements here. There are a few hints in this position that tell you that rook takes c5 might be the right move. The first is that white's king is exposed on this diagonal. So any experienced player is often going to be looking for a way to get their bishop into the game through some kind of bishop d4 check. And of course, in order to do that, we would have to start with rook takes c5, eliminating this bishop. So what's the point of this move? What happens after white takes? Well, here comes the key move of the whole combination. And if you didn't see this move, then you definitely don't deserve any credit, because this is really the whole point of rook takes c5, is to play bishop d4 check. And what this move does is it takes advantage of some hanging pieces in white's position. The first one is obvious. The rook cannot take the bishop because white's queen would be hanging. So that's the first element that you would have to have noticed, apart from the king being exposed in this diagonal, is that white's queen is hanging, which means that this rook isn't really controlling the d4 square. So the next thing we realize is that if king h1, we can take this rook on f1 with check. This rook was also hanging, which was another one of white's problems. And of course, black is winning here. Like, if we don't have checkmate after king h3, queen h1 check, we can always just castle and remain a piece ahead. So knowing that, we have to look at king h2. So the problem is that if black takes the rook on f1, white will play rook takes d4. And white is definitely surviving here. And the position is just about equal. But I hope you guys also realize that we can play this move, bishop e5 check. So this is an intermediate move like I mentioned in the previous example. We get our bishop away from the attack of white's rook by giving a check, and now if something like g3 or king h3 or king h1, we can take this rook on f1 and be safe. Unfortunately for black, white has the move king g1, defending their rook. And now black has nothing better than just bishop d4 check, repeating the position, king h2, and bishop e5 check. In the game, I actually ended up taking this rook on f1 because I was feeling ambitious, but as long as you saw this idea of bishop e5 check, bishop d4 check, then you should definitely give yourself some credit. It's not important that whether or not you would have taken this rook on f1. After rook takes d4, the position is more or less balanced. I castled, I think, and the game ended in a draw. So I hope this lecture was helpful to you guys, giving you some more insight and a detailed look into the thought process of how to organize yourself in tactically charged positions. And we'll continue with more tactics next time. Thanks a lot for listening, and I'll see you around on Chess.com.